Okay, let's begin. Hello, good day to everyone. Here we go again for the continuation of our exercise. Our topic for today is about explaining activity codes. Here we go, planning and control management special topics. Actually, I added these special topics because these are the topics that we would mostly use in our or in all parts of our exercise. Okay. Our previous episode was part 4, session 8, a progress update 001, customizing Windows schedule daily analysis technique into the program update by establishing parameters at user-defined field. And our next or current episode for today is a special topic session 1. Of course, this is our first session regarding the special topics. So this is about the Primavera P6 activity codes explained. Okay, kindly subscribe, like, and share. Okay, assuming we have already created a level 3 level 3 EPS and project name mockup, and is located on A2 level as shown here. I know that you are already familiar on how to create EPS and project. That is why I created this in advance. Okay, so we have here two EPS, A and B. Both have 3 levels under it, A1, A2, and A3 for EPS A, and for EPS B, we have the B1, B2, and B3. And the location of our mockup program is in A2 level of EPSA. So the reason why it is located here, it is chosen to be located here because it has a purpose for this topic. Okay, remember that our mockup or source program now is located on A2 level of EPSA. Okay, before we proceed to the defining of the activity codes, let me give you some overview of what is the activity code in Primavera P6. Actually, it is used primarily in organizing project activities. It has the capability and the effectiveness in filtering, grouping, sorting, classifying, and categorizing project activities in a convenient and in a suitable presentation, especially in projects of considerable large numbers of activities. Okay, let's go to defining of activity codes. So let's go to enterprise and then activity code. Okay, here we go. Actually, we will go for okay, there are 3 types of activity codes here to choose. We have the global, APS, and the project activity codes. But the question here is, which of these 3 shall we be using? Because we only need to define, actually, if you can, in the real project, you can assign the same, activity codes for these 3 projects, but for these 3 type of activity codes. But of course, you have to take considerable time to do it. One for the global, and next for the APS and for the project. So The purpose of this is that we will be anyway, after we discuss these three types of activity codes, we can decide later. We can decide it depends depending on our analysis. So let's elaborate these three choices of activity codes to give us a clear idea for the advantages and disadvantages of each based on our analysis and on how these three types of activity codes works or behaves. That would give us the right choice. Okay. Take note that our purpose here is that when we copy the program with the three types of activity codes assigned, whether the layout of the source program is carried into the layout of the replicated copy. Okay, I think let's do it for a better understanding. Okay, for demonstration purposes, so let's define typical activity codes for each of these three types of activity codes. Okay, this is for demonstration purposes that we have to define and assign activity code for each of these three types. But in the real project, you have to choose only one, right? Okay, let's go first to the project. Actually, it is already defined here, so let's delete it. And here, modify. Do you have any? The close, modify. Let's delete this one because we will be creating a new one. Okay, we will go to project. So project has no activity codes yet. So okay, first go to modify and then add. And then let's say okay, a project activity codes. So we will put this project so that we can distinguish and identify it when we put it in the column. Okay, then let's close. And then here we will be defining for the values and description. So let's click add. Okay, so let's say we will make it a project. Okay, that the problem there is that you have to go to the maximum length. We will make it maximize it to 20. Okay, we will make it project code 1. Then here, project code 1. Okay, let's add one more. Project code 2. And then, okay, done. Now we'll go to global. We'll go to global and then we will add the same activity code. Modify and then click add and then we'll say global. Global activity code. Okay. Okay, here we can see here the secure code. Actually, a secure code is the access privilege limitations of a global or specific EPS level activity codes with its values to any particular users. So this is optional for program security purposes only. Since this is only for our exercise, so there's no big deal for now. But we shall be taking up this on the later stage of our exercise. This is just a matter of setting up users access at the admin menu under the user section here. So we will go to that after we finish these activity codes. Okay. So we're done on the global activity codes. So let's close and then we will go to EPS. Okay, modify and then let's click add. Okay, here we are prompted. That is why in our APS here, I've shown to you here, we put it under A2 level of the APS-A. It is because here in the APS defining of the APS activity codes, we are prompted here to where to locate our activity codes here. So we will put it under A2, meaning they are of the same level as of our project here. Our project here, the mockup, is on the level, level A2 of the EPSA. So they are of the same level, okay? So let's click it here and then let's say we'll make it as APS activity code. Okay, and then secure code, as I said, it is only for a access privilege limitations for the users. Okay, so let's close and then we will be adding the value, or defining values and description for this one. So let's make it 2. What is this? Let's say EPS code. Okay, let's go back here and then make it 20. Close. Code 1. And then the same name. And then 2. And then 2. Okay. Done. Okay, here we forgot here. We have to add the, global code 1. Okay, that's the problem again. We'll make it 20. Okay, global code 1. Okay, and then add, let's say global code 2. And also here global code 2. Okay, we are done on global. It's done on APS. More. Okay, we are done also. Take note of the location of our APS activity code here that is under the level A2 of EPSA, because we will be comparing this one on our on the replicated copy of our mockup program. Okay, remember it is in level A2 of the APSA. Okay, close. And let's say project 1. Okay, that's okay. So let's close this one. Okay. What shall we do next? So we will open this one and then okay, let's assign the activity code, those three types of activity codes here in our project. So let's go to column. Okay, let's assign it here. The first we will assign the EPS. We will assign also the activity code. We will move it here. And then also for the project code, we will insert it in the column. So let's center, make it in the center, okay? And then apply. So here we go. So it is still, all of these are all blank because, okay, the problem, the sorting here is change activity code, activity ID. Okay, apply. Okay, so it is still blank. So we will assign activity codes that we have defined just a while ago. So under the global activity code, let's say we will assign here code 1 here for the first three. So let's say code 1 fell down. And then here, code 2, then fell down. Okay. And also here, we will make it also in the APS code. We have the code 1. Okay. And we have here the code 2. Okay. We have to assign these activity codes because we need this to organize our project. And let me show you later after this. Okay. Okay, and then fell down. Okay. If you look at this one here, it is global code 1, global code 2, because it is organized or grouped by global code, global activity code. You see? So if we will go to group and sort here, we can see it here that it is organized by group by the global activity code, right? So if you want to organize it by EPS activity code, so just click E and then look for the EPS activity code and then apply. You see the activity code here, the grouping is by EPS activity code. Now, if you want it by project code, then you just select, look for the project activity codes, yeah, this one, and then apply. Okay, so that is the one of the purpose of the activity coding. It is very convenient when you group the activities as you wanted it. Okay, now, so we will save this layout as, let's say, make it mock-up also. Actually, it is already duplicated. So we will delete this one. Okay. So if you look at the, but we will change this because we will change the grouping by global, because actually global is the one retained in the layout when you copy the replicate copy from the source copy. Okay. Okay, we're done here. So what next? Okay, let's. Okay, the next step here is to do the trial and error method. Okay, let's prepare a matrix so that we can record the condition and the scenarios at the time while we are doing the trial in Primavera P6. Actually, I have already prepared it. So let me show to you. Okay, here we go. Now here's the blank page for our matrix. So let me show first the, okay, let's run it. So this is the advantages and disadvantages of the three types of activity codes in preserving program layouts available for the replicated programs. Okay, let's go here. Here are the columns, the types of activity codes. Next is the replicated program copied source program. Okay, a replicated program meaning it is a copied source program, EPS location. So we have our choices here, the relocated and unrelocated. And there is the source program EPS location versus the replicated program EPS location. So we will be looking at this two EPS location, whether it is identical or not identical in their EPS location. Okay. Next is defined EPS activity code EPS label versus the replicated program EPS label. Okay, that's what I'm telling you, that the defined EPS activity code EPS label, if you can remember, we defined the activity, the EPS activity code into the level A2 of the EPS A. Okay, so we will be comparing it into our replicated program later. Okay, so we will be choosing if it is identical in the EPS level or it is lower or higher. So meaning we are comparing here if whether if the defined EPS activity code EPS level is lower or higher than the replicated program EPS level, or it may be identical in the EPS level. Okay. So next is the source program layout. So here we are talking about the layout. So meaning the layout from the source program compared to the layout of the replicated program, whether the is it whether the replicated program carried the layout as defined for the three types of activity codes. So when it carries the layout, so that means it is available, and if it's not, then it is unavailable. So here are the remarks where we can say something of what we analyze on this trial and error method of doing the method of analyzing the different type of activity activity codes. Okay, so now here are the three types of activity codes. We have the global level type, we have the EPS level, and we have the project level. Okay, let's show first the we'll put our Primavera side by side. Okay, so here we can see here our EPS the enterprise project structure here. Okay, so we can see our project here is under the level A2 of EPSA. So if we will, okay, on this column, so it is considered unrelocated. For what reason? It is because if you look at this is a replicated program or the copied source program. So we will do it by, let's say we will copy this program. This is our source program, and we will copy this into the same level. Okay, meaning we have to copy it here on the A2 level of the EPSA. So we will paste it here. Okay. Okay. So we will make this as a mock-up A2, meaning that it's a replicated copy. And then we will change this to A2 also. Okay. So we will now we will be looking at the let's say we will look at the layout of this mock-up. Okay, we'll see. Okay, if you look at the layout of this mock-up I mean our source program. So the 3 types of activity code here are all present, right? So this is our source program. Now, when we go to our replicated program here, if we will open it, okay, and then let's show the open the layout. Here you can see uh, the project level activity code disappears. Okay, so that is our what we call that is our observation there. That when we copy the source program or replicate the source program and locate it into the same level, perfectly the same level, the same EPS. So the project level activity code is not carried out, or the column of the project level activity code is not carried into this replicated program. Okay. Okay, so if you look at here, the replicated program, when say APS location, we will get back to this. Okay, if we look at this, the source program, and we copied it here on this location, so meaning their location, I mean their APS location are still the same, right? So that means the location of the replicated program is not really relocated. It is still on the same location with the source program. So that is why it is recorded here as unrelocated for all of the types of activity codes. Okay, so when we come here to the source program EPS location, okay, so that means they are of the same here on this the interpretation here on the first column is are all are the same, except that we have to choose here the identicalities of the EPS location. Here we are choosing for the location of the EPS location. I mean the location of the project with regards to the EPS. Okay, so when you look at here, what can you see here? The source program, we copied it here into the same level A2 of the EPSA. So that means they are of the same EPSA. So that means their EPS location is identical, right? So this is identical. Okay, how about it here? The defined EPS activity code, EPS level versus the replicated program EPS level. So as you can remember, our EPS level was located, we defined it in the activity code, and the EPS activity codes in level A2 of the EPSA, right? So we will look at the location of the replicated program EPS level, if it is identical, lower, or higher. Okay. But here is the, it is recorded as considered as identical, because if you look at here, the location of our replicated program is in EPSA and in level A2. While our EPS activity code, we also locate the EPS activity code into the level A2 of the EPSA. So that means they are identical. Okay, so that is why we recorded here as identical, right? Okay, let's go here for the source layout. So this is what I am talking just a while ago, that the layout of the source program contains here let's open the layout, our source program. Contains the complete activity codes columns of the 3 types of activity codes, right? But when we will open our replicated program, only the global activity code and the EPS activity code are shown here. That means the project level activity code disappears. Okay, so the result is here we will meaning under the global activity code, referring to the replicated program, it is still available here, right? The column is still available, and in the level APS in the APS level activity code, it is also shown here. So that means it is still available, but the project level is not shown here, so it is not available here. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So next, we will create a copy again for the replicated copy, another replicated copy, and we will relocate it or paste it in level A3 of the EPSA. Okay, so we will highlight mockup, Control C, and then highlight A3, and then Control B. So here is our replicated copy for considering the A3 level of EPSA. So we will rename this by, let's say, A3. A3. Okay. So let's see first our observation here in this column, the APS location of the replicated program. So this is our replicated program located on level A3 of the EPSA. Okay. So when we look at this one, okay, let's click it here, and then here it is recorded as unrelocated. Okay, why? Because our resource program is on APSA, meaning regardless of the level of the EPS, we are only talking here of the EPS location. That means we're just looking at the EPSA and EPSB here. So that means when we look at the source program, it is located on EPSA, and the the replicated program here is located on EPSA also. So that means it is not relocated. When we say relocated, it should be put here on the other APS, let's say B, but it is not. So that means it is unrelocated. And when it comes to the identicalities, it is still identical because it is still on EPSA, and both of them are still on the EPSA, right? So, okay, let's put it here, identical. Okay, here on the EPS activity code, EPS level. So it is recorded as higher. For what reason? It is because our EPS activity code, we define the activity code into the A2 level of EPSA, right? Which is higher than the A3 level of EPSA. So that is why it is recorded here as higher, meaning the activity code that we defined in the EPS level is higher than the EPS level of this replicated copy of the source program. Okay, understood? I hope so. So here on the layout, okay, it is still available. So we will see. Okay, how can we say that in global chains are in the global activity codes, it is available? Okay, let's open it. Okay, we are opening, we open the replicated copy, and then let's open the layout. Okay, so if you look at it here, so of course, we can see the global activity code column is shown here. So that means it is available. And also the EPS activity code is shown here also. And it is available also, right? We can see it here. So that is available in the EPS level. But the project is not available because we cannot see it here. The column of the project level activity code is not shown here. So that is why it is unavailable. Okay. So let's go again. We will need replicate another copy for the next location of the replicated copy. So we will copy this one again, highlight, Control C, and then we will move, paste it or locate it under the A1 level of EPSA. Okay, Control B. Okay, so that will be we'll make it as A1 and then A1. Okay, so considering this column, what would be the observation here? If you consider this column, it is still under the EPSA. The source program here is under the EPSA, and the replicated copy is also under the EPSA. So that means that is unrelocated also. So that means that is unrelocated. Okay. So how about here in the EPS location? So it is identical also. So that means if it is unrelocated here, that means it is identical here. If it is relocated here, that means they are not identical, right? Okay. They are identical because they are still of the same EPS A. Okay, the source program and the replicated program are of the same EPS A, which is irregardless of the level. Okay. Next, we will go to the EPS level versus the the comparison of the EPS level of the defined EPS activity code and the replicated program. Okay, so it is recorded here as the lower. Why it is lower? It is because the defined EPS activity code was located on A2 level of EPSA, while the replicated program EPS level is here located on here. It is located on A1 level of APSA. That means the activity code, that means the activity code, I mean the defined EPS activity code EPS level is lower than the level of the replicated copy here. Okay, because the replicated copy is located or relocated in A1, I mean located in A1 level of EPSA. which is higher than the defined EPS activity code EPS level. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, let's move forward. So how about on the layout here? Okay, let's click it. So, okay. Okay, so when it comes to the global, okay, let's move it like it. When it comes to the global, it is still available. So we will open our program. Okay, open this one. Okay. So when it comes to the global activity code, it is still, the column is still present. Right? So that is available. But when it comes to the APS level, there is no more APS level here. You know why? Because that is the nature, or I mean the rule that whenever the EPS activity code EPS level is lower than the replicated copy, it will not be carried on the replicated copy layout. And at the same time, it is shown here that the EPS activity code is converted into project activity code. Okay, well, let you see that after this. And then if you look at the project label, it is still unavailable. That means, okay, okay, let me show you how this happened, or what happened to this EPS activity code, which is converted into the project activity level. So let's go to enterprise activity code. Okay. And then let us share this one. Okay. So if you look at this one, okay. Previously, we only defined the project activity codes here, but now there is already an EPS activity code. It is because the activity code of the EPS here, since the defined EPS activity code is lower, has a lower EPS level than the replicated copy, the EPS code here is converted into the project activity code. And this is it now. Okay. So that's what happened. Okay, let's close. And then close. Okay. So now, what is next? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's click. Okay, this one. Let's see what will happen. We will create another replicate copy of the source program. So let's make a copy in here. Okay. Control C, and then we will put it under a different EPS B. Okay. So let's put it here on level B2. Okay. So let's make this as a B2. And the other one is, okay, make this as B2 also. So now, if you look at this one, the location of the replicated copy is on different APS, and on the level 2 APS level of APS B. Okay. So when it comes to this column, it is recorded as relocated because if we will consider this one, our source program here is located on APS A, while the replicated program is located on different APS, which is APS B. So that means it is relocated, right? Now, when it comes to the identicalities, of course, they are not identical because their APS location is not identical because it is relocated, or the replicated copy is relocated into a different APS, right? Okay. So, meaning that is non-identical. Okay, when it comes to the APS location, because one is located on APS A and the other is located on APS B. And now when it comes to APS level, of course, it is not related anymore. So that is not applicable. And when it comes to the layout, so when it comes to the global, it is still available. And here, okay, let's see it. So when it comes to the global, we will open our replicated copy. Okay, let's open it. Okay, so this is the outcome of the layout of the replicated copy when we relocate it into a different EPS. So the global activity code is still here, present. The column of the global activity code is still here, present. So that is why it is recorded as available. But the EPS level is not here anymore. So the same thing, it will happen that it is not available and the EPS activity code is converted into the project activity code, the same as what happened here, okay? And when it comes to the project level, there is no changes. It is always unavailable. Okay? So, we will continue. So, here is the summary of the analysis or our observation. Okay, when it comes to the global, layouts are available anywhere in the project enterprise without restrictions. Reestablishing a repetitive program and layout is not a concern, meaning for all the location of the replicated copy of the program, it is always available, right? So meaning there is no need for, constructing a new layout anymore because just the layout of the source program is always copied or carried into the replicated program, okay? But in the APS level, it has a slightly different case. Layouts are available only to the highest and the same level of EPS activity code with restrictions to the same EPS. So you have to count reestablishing a repetitive program and layouts regularly. That means you have to reestablish. There is a tendency that you have to reestablish your layouts. The typical layouts from the source program, if you want it, if you are located on a lower level of the same EPS. Okay. Now, in project level, layouts are not available anywhere in the project enterprise except for the project itself. And it always counts reestablishing a repetitive program and layouts regularly. So that means they are always, when you copied on anywhere in the APS location, the layout is not available, meaning you have to re-establish your layout again if you want those layout the same as the layout of the source program. Okay. Okay, Dan, I hope we've got some insight in this presentation about the three choices of activity codes. So what's your choice? For me, I prefer to use the global level activity code unless specific requirements demands the use of the other types of activity codes. Before I forget, project level activity code can also be converted into a global and EPS level activity codes. Okay, here's how to do it. Okay, let's go to here, enterprise activity code. Okay, and then I think we have to okay, and then here just go to modify. Let's say, for example, if you want this project activity codes be copied into the global or EPS activity code, just highlight it and then click this button. If you want it in global, just click make global. If you want in APS level activity code, just click this make APS. Okay, and it will be converted accordingly. Okay, I hope do we have anything else? I think there's none anymore. So I think this is enough for now, and let's continue for the next episode. Okay. Okay, let's close. So I think we still have some remarks in here. Defining and assigning using the three types of activity code is recommended, meaning you can assign or for you to be sure that the layouts for the replicated copy will be available. So you can make activity codes for each of the three types of activity codes. Though it will take time in assigning to activities for an additional twice the time of using one of the activity code. Okay, I hope you get this message. Okay, so our next episode is part 4, session 9. Progress update 001, customizing Windows schedule analysis technique into the program update. And this is by defining and assigning activity codes and establish report formats or layout. So that means we have to define and assign activity codes because what we did now is the explanation of the activity code. So for this episode, we will be assigning the activity code for our project itself. Okay. So see you and thank you guys. Kindly subscribe, share, and like. Okay, it's the end of our session. God bless to all and goodbye.